Hello and welcome. My name is Rich. I use the he/him pronouns, and this is my YouTube channel where I play amazing tabletop role-playing games. It is Saturday as we record this, and therefore it is time for Star Wars Saturdays, my ongoing anthology campaign where I take small press indie RPGs and hacks, reskin or drift them, whatever terminology you like, and say, hey, it's a Star Wars game now. And we are playing Fellowship. Fellowship is a game from Bavaria Gothica, is a powered by the Apocalypse role-playing game, which means that it is narrative first. The mechanics are there, but I would say it's a medium crunch kind of game. A little crunchy, more crunchy, meaning more moves, more things going on than your typical PBTA or Powered by the Apocalypse fare, but still nowhere near like a Pathfinder level of mechanisms and engines and the like. We are deep into this campaign that we hope to bring to a close by the end of May. We shall see. The Fellowship is in Zinj's Empire, which I know that Disney got rid of all of the legends, but that's a legends that I wanted to bring back. Kind of like how they brought back Thrawn. If they can, we can. And there he is, a giant head of Warlord Zinj. So Zinj's Empire is an Imperial remnant. This is after the Return of the Jedi movie, before the Mandalorian TV show series really begins in that middle space of 5 years. The New Republic is continuing to free the galaxy from the clutches of the Empire, but there is this Imperial remnant under the uh, hateful eye of Warlord Zinj, and our fellowship is trying to free it with a little bit of support. They have had some victories. Most recently, the lieutenant or the boss of Dathomir has been defeated by them. They've also suffered some setbacks, such as the planet of Varlon. There is a their queen has been deposed, and there is an imperial puppet in charge there. Even though it's like 5 steps down on the royal lineage, for some reason the empire was like, "I pick you." Who knows why they would do such a thing? Just throwing all of Varlon's history to the winds, and Judas von Varlock is the regent of Varon. We ended the game with the Fellowship having helped Dathomir come to freedom. A woman by the name of Whisper, a Chiss, former noblewoman who ran a bar and also had a large number of connections, who aided the rebellion. She now is trying to step up to fill the vacuum, the power vacuum in Dathomir, with hopes that it will be uh, a freer, less imperial friendly area. As a result, you guys had a fellowship move. You chose a one time favor from Whisper. And I believe you wanted to know about the players. We're stepping a little bit out, but you had hoped to deal with the next leader of the empire, uh, a Queen Nolus Sintel, a Zygarian of the Zygarian slave empire, which is in the upper corner of Zinj's empire. And there were some wishes or desires to do some downtime stuff, and that is how we will start. So we need to do some recovery, few downtime moves, conversations, a little bit of a less, at least the beginning of the session, less intense, perhaps. And so that's where I hope to grant that wish. Let's go quickly around the horn for a brief reintroduction of our characters, because Tyler's back with us this session, and also Stephen. Some things have changed. Oh man, Steve, I just realized your background is a lie, a dirty lie that breaks my heart. I'll let you kick it
Working
off.
on it. Yeah.
I knew you would. Also, if you want,
Yeah.
I'll let you go last then, and we'll see if you could how quickly you work. And if you're not done, it's okay. Tyler, welcome back. If you could introduce yourself and remind us about your character.
Absolutely. I'm Tyler. You have pronouns, and I'm playing Matron Chevelza Andres, who is a Dathomiri witch. Who is? I am also playing the Nemesis playbook, which is kind of caught in the liminal space between the Fellowship and the big boss, the top dog, Warlord Zinj. I have been helping the Empire to basically try to get where I could get back my planet and free them and perhaps put myself in charge. Seems my planet is somewhat free now, but I am not in charge, so 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Um but along with this, I have also taken a great deal of interest in Prince Darren. I see the potential in his use of the Force, and this has intrigued me. And I kind of have found that Nanta is a bit of my conscience and maybe pricking a little at the darkness that surrounds my soul and bringing me out of it somewhat.
Dang it. Fascinating. Excellent. Thank you so much, Tyler. Greg, if you could, introduce yourself and remind us about your character.
Hey, I'm Greg. I use he, him pronouns. I'm playing Zop Books, also he, him pronouns. Zop is now a war machine. Previously, Zop was pulled away by the very dangerous and now very dead Falkine. Um, oh, where did she go? She's dead now. Lady Cinna Falkine. Um, and she was going to take me away and give me away to the bounty hunting guild. I said no. Um, whole bunch of wackadoodle nonsense later. Um, she tried to. Oh no! Oh no! I have offended Tyler with the killing of yeah, Cinefalkine.
Yes, you did. Does it sound okay? That's
Yes, you sound
response.
fine. I was
Okay.
waiting for Tyler to rejoin
Yeah,
because
that's fair. That's fair. Here, we'll just pause the recording until Tyler's able to rejoin us.
pause.
All right. Uh, sorry for the interruption. Greg, you were telling us about how Zappoots had become a war machine.
Yes. So at the end of last session, Sina Falkine was attempting to sway our prince to allow her to join us on our journey. And Zop was having none of it. And when Darren asked me and I evoked to some way their heirs core move, yes, my liege. We had, we kind of retconned it that way, but Zop refused and stabbed Cinna and felt nothing, felt no relief, felt no satisfaction in revenge, and thus has gained the war machine. I am now a threat to the world, and I'm really good at killing people. Finally, Zapooks has got a mechanical advantage for killing people because Zop is really bad at it. Anyways, yeah, that's me.
Excellente. Good. So let us now move on to our Jedi. Cody, if you could introduce yourself and tell us about your character.
What's up? It's me, Cody. I use he, him pronouns. I play Oron the Jedi, also uses he, him pronouns. Oron, he's been following the path of the Wayseeker for a long time now. That means he's not really a part of the Order as it was. He's following his bliss out there in the galaxy, going where the Force wills him, because obviously it has a plan. It has led him to this. A apprentice question mark who doesn't listen to him, dabbles in the dark side overtly, chooses the path of anger and vengeance over anything. Oron's having a tough time. He's like the teacher's like, I know you got potential, but man, you are getting in with the wrong kids. And maybe he's tired of it. Maybe he's not, maybe he's out of this game. Maybe he's not meant to be a teacher anymore. We'll find out how Oron's doing this time on our game.
That was great this time on. Sweet. And then last but not least is our good buddy Steven. If you could introduce yourself and tell us about your character.
Yeah, my name is Steven. My pronouns are he, him. I'm playing Nanta, who is an Ewok whose pronouns are also he, him. And Nanta is accompanied by the droid R0 that we saw in the last session. R0 was crushed and damaged. And I think that R0 will either take some time to repair or might be damaged beyond repair. We'll have to see. Right now, Nanta has a translator device with that hangs in a chain around his neck so that people can understand him and translate. That translates for him, and mechanically, he's taking his mount, which we saw many sessions ago. He had made friends by feeding a Corellian hound, and he is going to use Brux, the Corellian hound, as his mount.
Hooray! I love it. We got the cute Brooks. Very fun stuff. During the break, unplanned break, we found out a good stuff about resin and resin models, and that was neat stuff. So, let us begin at the beginning. You guys are currently on your Diligent Spark, the old Clone Wars era Republic cruiser that serves as your flagship. If you recall, your Kay is not with us. For those who may have already noticed, Darren von Warlock is will be NPC'd here. The heir, and the heir is in a bad way. Had a couple of stats damage mechanically, and was not in the best of moods, and so Darren will be avoiding people. And pursuant to some of the wishes that we have, this is a time when you can choose to recover, when you can also take a bit of downtime. You've successfully freed most of the populace of Dathomir. You know that things will need to move and shift around before you can make your next move. Perhaps you want to engage some of your rebellion moves to make that happen. So let's go around the horn. And I'm going to tap people, but don't feel like you have to have a solo scene. If you're interested in bringing other PCs in, you can. But I am curious in speaking with or catching up with Oron right now. Oron, you've recently had the revelation of your son, who has appeared to you that he has pretty obviously fallen from the light, but he is not yet born. And your relationship, which you had held in secret, is one of the things that wounded Darren the most. So I'm curious, now that you guys have some time away from the tumult out in the black, the inky black of space.
Yeah.
What do you do?
So point of order, Oron's son is born. Oron, remember it.
Sorry, that's right. He was born away. Yes, thank you for reminding me of that. I apologize. He is still a babe.
He is but a babe, and he is under the care and protection of Freyr, the twin to Freya the Lothwolf. Yeah, Oron is on the ship, and I think he, he feels Darren's point of being hurt by this secret. Oron both sees it and doesn't see it. In a way, he thinks, Versi and I are advisors. You've cared nothing about our personal lives. It's just that you felt like we had something that you didn't know about. And in a way, Oron feels that is kind of, I think, from a place of it's Darren's privilege as royalty, as a prince. And that is something Oron has felt, for a long time, that there's this nature of is monarchy a mistake? Is it actually a beneficial thing to these people, these planets? And I think this recent experience with Darren on Dathomir is having him question that more. And so he's having a kind of philosophical and heart-to-heart discussion with Versi in their quarters. When the ship landed to rescue us, you know, he openly showed his affection for Versi, and now he has no qualms about it being open knowledge that the two of them share this experience. And so yeah, I don't necessarily know that we need to role play it any further than that. It's just kind of a heated, maybe not heated, Oron's pretty exhausted, and so maybe it's kind of that, it's him feeling like this isn't going the way he thought it would, and he's having trouble seeing the path through. And you know, several hours of Versi and him talking about, well, you know, what happened back on the planet, maybe it would be better if there wasn't any royals, that they could be put in place as puppet masters for the Empire. You know, well, yeah, I'm not sure if we want to have that scene or not. It'd be just, that's where Oron's head's at.
I think that's interesting. I'd like to at least dip a toe into it, because I'd like to hear Oron express some of these beliefs. So maybe we pick up with her reaction. I understand your concerns, but what else would you propose? What is a better form of government?
A better system. The Republic used to be a thing. It's not so far lost that we can't reclaim the power of democracy. Yes, there are planets that still have monarchies, and they have
democracy. Have you seen? To be honest, one person would vote. I'm sorry. There are many fools in the galaxy.
Yes.
A republic I can understand. Democracy is foolish.
Yes, it can be when those people are led astray, but it doesn't have to be. And I do feel that the majority of the people are good. And then an even smaller fraction of those are good leaning. They're open to leadership. It's not even those that some would call fools, they're not a detriment to the people. They're not a detriment to the galaxy. They just don't have the tools or the education or the leadership to guide them in places. And I don't know that leadership, because of bloodline and privilege, means anything. We've seen what this family does. We've seen the way they try to lead. And yes, a great king, a great prince, a great queen, they can have a great impact on their people. But just as easily, their son, their daughter can be evil. They can be truly evil. They can be a part of the empire and the forces that they represent. And what untold suffering will they immediately cause on their people, all because they were born to the previous good king? Why should we allow that to be the continued way? How is that going to help our son to grow up in a world where all it takes is, petty squabbling amongst cousins, one of them gets mysteriously injured in a speeder crash, and now the one who's willing to go to those depths for power is in charge?
Speak as if that is something that Voron's ever experienced. This is the first time. Judas is a regent. It is only a minor inconvenience.
Do you believe that Darren would be better? Speak true. What we've seen on this journey, what we've tried to guide him in, do you think he would do better right now if we went back to Vorlok and they announced him as king? Would he be better?
That is awesome. That is so good. And just to state out loud, Zop is right outside the door.
Yeah, I kind of want to confrontation with Oron about his apprentice.
Whoa. We're on about his apprentice.
I
Interesting.
I,
What
I,
an
I could do
interesting
that,
thing to-
or
yeah.
or I would be talking to Nanta about Darren.
Cool. So let's pick up Oron's question.
Sure.
This is a thing that Zop gets to hear the answer to, and I think I'd like to see you speak softly to her.
Okay. Moves, huh? Love that. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. She is not going to just open up with her opinions.
Speak softly. Oh, it's talk sense, and then speak softly is my move that modifies that. Is that what it is?
No, there's the speak softly move in the basic moves. I think
What?
you've
Oh,
got
there
a
it is. I see it. I
modifier
see it.
to it. It's
Listen.
with wisdom.
So many different talk moves. All right. Yeah, wisdom.
I love it. I love that there's so many talk moves.
Okay, and
I
my
have not
modifier for
opened the roller. What's going on with me? Oh my.
my wisdom's +2, and 2d6 +2. We get a 10.
You get a 10. Okay.
Honestly, should I be rolling with hope anyways? I mean, Percy and I share a very, tight bond. We have a child, but it's okay. Sometimes that makes it difficult. Go ahead. I got a 10, so I get whatever I want from this move, right?
you can roll a third die if you want, if that makes you feel good, but you're not going to get
It
more than
might.
you got. Cool. So, 10 plus, they must answer each question honestly. And I feel like, what can she tell you about her feelings on Darren? Like, that's one of the move results and questions. And she hesitates and she says, this has been a very arduous journey for him. On Varlon, I felt as if he listened to Turdal and I. And I had hoped that you might be able to guide him. But I worry that he has chosen a dark path.
He has. He has turned from my guidance at every turn because we have allowed him to hold on to that artifact. He lords over us on this ship, that it is his ship, that this is his crew.
Technically, is his ship.
Technically, it is. But technically, what he is doing is of the dark side. And we need to step up and make a choice for Darren. Not just...
No, I do not break the galaxy into equal halves of light and dark.
You don't yet. And that truly is something I value, Percy. I value that of you. It helps me navigate that sliver that's in the middle. But it is two halves. There is the light and there is the dark. And these people who preach about the gray, that's not what it is. The gray is momentary acts of light and dark. What Darren is doing is endangering him. It is endangering us. And should we succeed in our quest, it endangers the people of his planet. If we care about them and we care about what good a monarchy can be, we cannot allow what is happening in his quarters right now to continue. His mind is being poisoned by dark side power.
And we must do something.
We must. And maybe then he'll listen to reason and he'll listen to our guidance.
So don't forget, you've got 2 more questions.
Oh,
but
man,
I do love that Zop, the idea of Zop coming in at this point after you just come to like an agreement with your beloved. So there's a chime, someone at the door, and then the door opens. Shoo! And Versi turns, her hand reaching for where her blaster is not, because she is not armed. And you see the war machine Zapus.
Oron,
Yes, Zop.
I knew you must have sensed my presence.
I did. It is difficult to ignore the presence you leave in the forest, and also your boots are quite heavy on the floor. But yes, I noticed, Zop.
I couldn't help it over here, and I can't help but agree.
I knew you would, friend. I knew you would. We should discuss this with Nanta as well.
The best way to get Nanta is to cook some food.
Indeed, and I could use a bite myself. Let's go to the galley. Let's find a meal.
I love that it ticks Nanta off being our cook if you start cooking in the kitchen without him. Start moving things around.
Yeah, it's
Like when
we
you
can't
have
find
company.
we can't find Nanta, so we just go to the kitchen and start making noise, and Nanta will appear. Yeah, so I think Oron, leaves. He turns to Versi, gives her a kiss. He says, "Thank you for speaking with me on this. Thank you for listening. Perhaps I was unfair. There has been a lot in the past few days, and I haven't even begun to tell you about what I have experienced. Trust me, I do want what's best for Darren and the planet."
I do trust you. And then her eyes slide over to Zop, and she leaves unsaid whether or not she trusts Zapus.
It's fair. It's fair.
Oron turns, leaves through the ship, starts leading Zop to find the kitchen. Yeah.
So Nanta, how is it that you know when people are in the galley?
So I can smell whenever somebody's cooking or doing something, a roundabout with food. I have a pretty good sense of smell. And I'm actually at this point in I'm in a back storeroom where look at the ship. I'm in a back storeroom. It's not like the ship is really big enough to get lost in. However, this is where all the junk goes. And I think back here there is literally like, this is where I put the parts to R0 to be repaired later. In the background we see like some other droids and some other equipment and like a destroyed speeder and all that kind of stuff that are kind of out there. And I think Brux has come along. We see Brux kind of nose at R0 and kind of like whine a little bit, and Nanta says, later, we have other more important things right now. And he walks over and he pulls out part of the seat for the speeder and kind of, starts kind of tying it together and makes like a little saddle for Brux. And then as he's in the middle of like stitching and everything, and this is just completely a repurposed, you know, uh, piece of junk that we see. And all of a sudden he like puts his nose up and then heads off like lickety split, like toddling as fast as he can towards the galley.
Nice. And I think the camera, as Nanta was building the saddle, the camera keeps panning down. And Brooks brought you a small, like, stuffed ball, and you were still working on the saddle. And then Brooks brought you part of a droid's arm, not R0's, but like some other droid's arm, and you did nothing with that. So there's this array of 4 different items that Brooks has continued to bring you in hopes of enticing for you to throw. But you were
Right.
working on the saddle. Saddle's nearly done when you catch a whiff and head off to the formal dining area, which is not far, as we have discussed.
And I think the fans actually recognize that one of the droid arms that comes up is a battle droid arm. They're like, "Oh, I know that one."
Yes. Maybe on, like, in Arabish, it says Roger, Roger on the underside of the arm. Just for silliness.
So I come running into the galley, shouting, and you hear the indignant response in my voice, but I think the temporary vocoder thing that I have is very flat toned, and is like, "What are you doing?"
Nanta, it's wonderful to see you. We thought we might share a meal. And I was trying my
Oh.
hand at something I've learned it. It was many years ago, but perhaps, well, I don't know where anything is in here, if I'm honest.
And he walks over to like a sizzling skillet and like dips like a little spoon spatula thing in it and sniffs it and wrinkles his nose, and he's like, takes a taste and pulls out, like, reaches over, and there's like a little cubby hole, pulls out some spices and starts spicing it up. Yeah.
Spices, that's a bit decadent for me. I usually eat things a little bit bland on the road. Not often you have, but this is wonderful, Nanta. You know exactly what you're doing. Zop and I have something to discuss with you, but first, let's eat.
Yeah,
Now,
and I think that I serve like a little meal. The two of you go sit down. I think we have like a small table that we can sit down at. Um, and I mix some stuff up. I pull some stuff out that's probably, it's not hardtack like what we've had out in the field. It's a little bit better than that. So it's like some rice or bread that comes out of like a maker, like a rice maker or a bread maker. And I pull that out and I set that out, maybe with like a little side dish that comes out of like one of the coolers and everything. So you dip the bread in it a little bit while I'm cooking. What else? What do you have to say?
Zop, why don't you take it away?
Just give like a side glance so we're
Ah,
concerned about Darren. He follows a
Is he
dangerous
injured?
path.
Spiritually, I believe so.
We all follow a dangerous path.
But his is more dangerous.
His is a danger of his own making. We fight against injustice, against the Empire in this sector. That's true. Darren has taken on an adversary all his own, and one that he is not allowing us to help in the fight. I'm speaking of his precious, his artifact, his holocron. The thing found.
Nanta's dismissive, like, oh, whatever.
I know it. You might not understand it. It is some arcane technology of the distant past, but these things have power. And my people, the Jedi, we create them as repositories of our master's learning. You can meditate with one, and in doing so, you can speak with those masters of the past, who can then give you their knowledge, their guidance. Much of their personality can be contained in these devices. The dark side, those people who followed it, the Sith, the witches of Dathomir, they can do it too. And I believe the holocron that Darren keeps with him night and day, clutched to his chest, is whispering evil to him. I believe it is a Sith holocron, and inside it is a malevolent force wishing to push Darren to the dark. It encourages acts of violence. It encourages acts of rashness. You saw what he did when we approached the tower with those slavers. Yes, it may have been a right thing to do, but it may not have been the good thing to do. Do you understand, Nanta? There is a fine difference.
I think Nanta's gotten through cooking and walks over, puts a few dishes on the table. I think he's made one for Darren as well, and it just kind of sits there. and then he pulls out like a little block, and sets it down on the, on the bench seat next to everybody, and climbs up and sits on top of that, so he can reach up to the top of the table comfortably. And he says, I understand, and my people, when we have a young one who is headed in the wrong direction, as you said, maybe they bully others when no one's looking, or they take chances out among the forest whenever they, chances that they shouldn't take. It's usually wiser. Our wise people don't tell them what to do and what not to do. Our chiefs tell them they are a part of the clan and become even more close friends with them and show them through experience what's safe and what's not. Are you suggesting that you need to pay more attention to Darren and be a better friend to him to better show him your path?
Those are wise words, Nanta. Your people are wise. It feels differently when the youth in question possesses such power of their own. Not just control over people, Darren is a prince, but his connection with the stillness, as they call it, the force, it is a great power, and it is one that allows them to, even if they stray but a little, do an incredible amount of harm. And it feels that we need to take larger action to prevent that. But I don't disagree. The youth don't want to hear what you want to offer. And I have tried, believe you me, I have tried to lead by example with Darren, but that's not what Darren wants. What Darren wants from me is to see me laser sword out, slicing down enemies. That is not the path of the light, but that is what Darren wishes. When I lead by example, he doesn't see it. It feels, perhaps I'm wrong, but how can he hear our voices when he's listening to the whispers so close to his heart?
It must be destroyed.
Think I might pop on in here.
I was hoping you would.
I'll be using my following the let's see. I'll be using my From the Shadows, and I think I've been there a while. I picked up Hide in Plain Sight. So I think I've heard this conversation. I think somewhere in here I had felt through the force, and following the webs, knew that something was endangering Darren and his teachings. And so I think I'll make myself apparent by. So your desire, Jedi, is to force your will upon the prince.
I think as soon as you appear, Oren like stands up quickly and reaches for his saber that doesn't exist. And
I do not come to fight you.
Nanta leans over and kind of pushes at the plate that was made for Darren and goes, sit down, eat.
Thank you. And I will come over and I will sit.
Oren will gesture to the table and sit back down.
Nanta, I believe that is unfair of me. Perhaps I will say my impression is that Oren has been taught the ways of the Jedi and believes that the only safe use of the Force is through those teachings. The Force moves through us all. And the Jedi, despite what they may believe, are not the sole inheritors. Darren has his own path to follow. If you inflict your will upon him, Jedi, do you believe your teachings will take, or will, like so many other Jedis before him, will he turn to destruction and hate?
Matron, you misunderstand me. I've spent many years in this galaxy. I know the Jedi is not the only path, but I also know that inaction, not putting him on any path, is not the same as allowing him to be influenced by this holocron. You are cautioning us against influencing our will on him too strongly. I hear you, and I agree. But we cannot then allow this artifact of malevolence, of unknown origin, to instead poison his mind. That is not Darren making choices. That is whatever's in there working through him. If we remove that holocron, I would not then enforce the Jedi beliefs on Darren. I would merely free him to pursue his own path. We cannot allow him to clutch this artifact of evil tight to his chest every night, every waking moment, and say that we are letting him do his own path, letting him make his own mistakes. That is not the same thing.
Cannot
But-
allow. Jedi.
Yes, but if you take, if I understand, this artifact represents his people and his ancestors, and that's an important thing. We should all know about the importance of our past. But with him, if you take this from him, he will surely fall into despair and hatred. However, if he chooses to leave it and not follow its teachings, then you have set him on the correct path. You need to be his friend, not his officer.
I come to this group, and now the matron, not to say what I need to do. I'm speaking of all of us. Nanta, it is not up to just me to convince Darren to lead a better path. I respect the wisdom that
think-
you offer.
It is up to us to show him if there have been things that were evil that were done. What were the evil events that took place? He killed a bunch of Dathomiri on the planet.
He acted in anger, which, yes, it is the Jedi way to not do so. But there was a bloodlust in him that he did not need to take. When it came time to dispatch our foe, Terran Malicos, on Dathomir, he did it not for justice, not for the rebellion, but he did it out of anger. He did it for his own power.
He did it out of anger, but did he do it out of desire for his own power? Is anger not a part of who we all are? Zob, do you not feel anger and act upon it?
I find I feel nothing now.
I'll give a very appraising look. This is probably the first time I've seen you since
Yeah.
what must be some change. And I'll narrow my eyes. You are not as I have known you in the past. What has befallen you, Zop?
I see my purpose now clearly.
And what purpose is that, Zop?
To end the rule of Zinj. Everything else to this moment has been a distraction. I believe we are all aligned on that.
Zop, there was a person that Darren was going to allow on the ship under armed guard, not doom them to death on Dathomir. And you made a choice of your own that surely isn't going to lead Darren into a place of righteousness. You acted and you killed, yes, an enemy of yours, but the threat was over in that moment.
No. Now the threat is over. Now Zinj must fall.
I'm going to turn to Nanta as Matron's eliciting this evil laugh. My goodness. I'm going to turn to Nanta and say, our own fellowship, the other members, are not capable of walking such a righteous path to inspire Darren to the right one.
Now it is not only Prince Darren that is not to be allowed his emotions. Now others of your fellowship are not allowed.
Matron,
This the way, Jedi?
Emotions are welcome. It is how you act upon them that does good or evil in the galaxy. You can be angry that someone wronged you, but to then wrong another because you are angry does not make it correct, does not make it somehow beautiful to act on your emotions. Controlling yourself is a higher calling than going with any whim.
Zappa angrily slams his cup down. And will Zinj control himself?
No.
Oh, you made him feel, Orin. How impressive.
No, Zop. Zinj will not control himself. But if we do not, then we risk changing Zinj's remnant into another bloodthirsty regime. We must be careful this path we walk. What we do can be filled with deeds of the dark. And so we must enshrine ourselves in light.
All too clearly, I see that you may hesitate.
It is not
you
hesitation.
May hesitate when the need is there.
It is not hesitation.
The food was very good, Nata. And Zop will get up and leave.
Nanta turns to those that are left and says, we've all been brought together here with a common purpose. Orin, you seem to be our conscience, the one that tells us the direction. Zop is the arm that wields the weapon. And I'm the one that fills the belly. And I turn to Javelia, the matron, and I'm not sure what you are yet, or if you're even a part of this. But you seem to want to be. And Darren is the heart. And we don't want him to lose his way. But we can't force it. If we force it, that rigidity will break him and break us. We have a common goal.
If you are right, Hunter, and you believe the Holocron controls Darren, I do not believe this. I believe he listens and is learning. It does not force its beliefs, though it may tempt. But if you believe its control is too great, then perhaps we must teach a better way.
Oron, you have strong beliefs about what should happen to Darren's artifact. And I believe that you have his best interests in mind. But perhaps your followings are too rigid in that they could cause more damage than more damage than is needed. Things like this have happened in the past with your people. Chaveosa? Could you have a discussion with Darren? And I think we lay out the history of like the violence he has done. And some of that violence was against your people who were following the wrong groups. Following the wrong leader. Orin, is this something that we could discuss, that the matron could discuss with Darren, that would be acceptable to you?
You ask me to allow our nemesis into the quarters of our prince to have a chat with him.
It's always allow with you, isn't it, Orin?
Trust in the force that maybe this was the way.
Here is something I have found in the path of the Wayseeker. To trust that things are meant to be the way they are meant to be can lead to greater harm through inaction. I believe that when I set out on this path and left the order behind, I left my people to ruin, because there were people like me who sought what is right outside of the, yes, rigid structures of the order. And so now the discussion is, oh, well, maybe in time he'll choose another path. Maybe in time he'll let this thing go. Do you let a poisoned wound continue to taint the whole, or do you treat the poison? That is all I ask. I do not ask to then take the victim and put them in a new world. I ask that we treat the poison. After that, Darren is free to choose as he wishes, to go as he wishes, but at the very least, he will not die to that poison. And it is not me allowing anything as much as me knowing whether or not I need to stand in the way to make what is right what occurs.
Do you think that your path is the only path that will save him? There are many paths to the force. Despite what you may think, I'm not a ravaging beast of the dark. I walk the path that you so casually dismiss, that my sisters have walked for millennia. There is a gray path. Your inability to see it does not make it untrue.
On that matter, we disagree, matron. There is no gray. There is a fine line between light and dark. What people think is gray is the pursuit of their own power and their own whims, which they believe are just. I do not think that my way is the only way that will save Darren. I repeat, what I believe is no way will save him as long as that holocron is strapped to his chest. When that is gone, he can pursue the stillness in the way he chooses. Of course. And if he asks, what do the Jedi think about this? I can instruct him in that.
Oh, the path of the witches. I could instruct him in that.
I think the important thing to Darren is that the item is his people. They're it's the soul of his people, which we can't, you know, we don't want to see anyone else's people destroyed, like yours were, Oron, or mine were. So I have a question. Is there a move here that we need to do?
Well, I was gonna say, can I roll a
Oh.
move to get the nature of the holocron again? Because I'm trying to
Ooh.
remember our knowledge of it, and it's like my experience with it is different than I think what you guys experienced with it when you found it. And so I kind of want to know what we all know together, but
we also have Talk Sense. We also have Fill Your Belly and Forge a Bond, which are all kind of options.
Yes, I would love for some bonds to be forged from this very
I
moment.
think I might have broken my bond with Oron looking at the. Yeah, I think I broke the bond with Oron.
Nice.
So Cody, what should you roll to?
That's a great question. You
Look
know,
closely, maybe.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's super interesting. I hesitate because the holocron's so closely tied to Darren, and Darren's not here to keep you from observing it. That's the only hesitation I have, but I do think this is.
You might not be able to locate it physically, but he could reach out through the Force to it.
That's true. That's very true.
We also
Before
can. Yeah, go ahead.
Before we move into that, since we've just said, Oren and I have just said this thing of, you'll teach him the Jedi, I will teach him the way that of the Dathomiri. Then can I look across at Oren? Would that be satisfactory to you to give him options?
If that is what it takes for this poison to be removed, then of course that is what I would be agreeable to that.
Then can we form a bond?
Yes. Yeah, I was gonna say we should. Yeah, we'll have more.
If so, then perhaps together we can sense what this holocron wishes.
Ooh, form a bond so you can work and hope together. That is dope.
And then I let you do the look closely as we open up to the Force, and I'll give you hope in the roll.
Okay. Cool. Let's do that. I Also, hey, we just filled our bellies with hearty food and discussion. Do we need to do that
Yes.
move as well?
You should. That was one
Okay.
of the purposes of setting it here. So let us do that before we move on and forget.
I also have fill your belly, use as much food as you want to heal. Anyone trying to compete can use one food to heal and extra damage. I can't help you recover your elder arts that way. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to. I will, when I fill my belly, I'll unmark one of my elder arts. So I'll do that. And then what else does fill your belly do? It just does one thing. It just
Damage.
It's a heal.
damages. Got it. Got it.
Yep.
I don't have any of that. Okay.
So that means Chevalier, you can your sense is damaged, I think.
Yes, it
Oh.
is.
Actually, it's back to fixed because we had a
Oh, 'cause
breakdown.
the-
I
yeah,
can
you-
never fill my belly.
That's right. You just automatically heal. So you're
And
good.
that's why the nemesis is so angry, because they can't eat a nice meal.
I
It's
can't
some
eat it.
food.
Yeah.
This
angry.
food means nothing to me.
All right, so I'm rolling. Look closely through the force, which is a sense move. So it's +3, and it's 3d6 because I'm rolling in hope. Do I roll? Do I mark that bond? Is that how that works, Tyler?
No, we're just doing this together, so we don't.
Okay,
have to mark it.
we're acting
It
together.
sticks
Okay,
together. Yeah,
okay. So maybe
that's
I could
just
see,
with companions.
got it. I could see this not happening right at the dinner table, but maybe after, Zop's gone and we finish the meal. We go to a quiet corner of the ship and meditate. And let's see what we get.
Be a quiet corner of the
Oh
ship.
my!
Oh yes, I love that reaction.
A
I'm gonna
1,
go
a
look at that.
4, and a 1. So a 4 and a 1 plus 3 is 8. But geez, Louise.
That +3
2
to save
ones?
to your bacon.
Yeah,
Wow.
truly.
Wow.
Mm.
Okay. Looking closely, a 7 to 9.
So so I get to ask the questions, and one of them we're gonna find out the hard way.
Mhm.
Reaching out with the force to this holocron.
Yeah.
What is going on here?
So Oron, you reach out and you feel Matron Chevalsa on the Rees beside you, the two of you walking through the force, moving at the speed of thought and emotion. You recognize, Oron, that you have slipped into the pathways, the world between worlds. Matron Cheval's, this is perhaps something you have heard in the legends of the Night Sisters, this place that exists between places. But I don't imagine that that's something the Chevalza has discovered on her own.
It
Fair?
might be a little connected with the web jumping I do from place to place.
Oh, that's
but
true.
I-
So maybe, yeah, maybe you have taken this. Oh, I like that a lot. Yeah. So this place is not unfamiliar to you. You travel through that to reach towards this holocron, and you see it there, red, glowing with malevolence, and there's a nimbus around it. Ask your questions as you look closely.
What is going on here? What do my senses tell me?
What your senses tell you is that this holocron does hold the key to the stillness, but that it is caged, and that the cage itself is malevolent, that there is a spirit that keeps the stillness, and that is what has been speaking with Darren.
The cage itself is the thing speaking.
Yes.
The
The
next
stillness
question.
is stillness. It doesn't speak. It doesn't have a personality. The cage was of Sith design.
Okay. Tell me about the cage. What are they doing? What will they do next?
The cage. The cage is made of material and a design that you have not yet seen. It is something steps beyond what you have seen in a Sith holocron. I mean, it's a Jedi holocron. Yeah. So, sorry, just glancing at the question again. So, tell me about. You did the tell me about or the.
Yep. Tell me about what are they doing? What will they do next?
Cool. Yes. So the cage, the spirit in the cage, it is slowly creeping into Darren. What will it do next? If unfettered, the power of the Sith holocron will manipulate and take over Darren. Darren will become the new cage.
Oren doesn't seem so crazy now, does he? Okay. And the third question, and one of that's all. And one of these I will find out the hard way. So yeah, we'll see what that is. The third one is what? Oh boy. Okay, hold on. Tell me about it. How could it hurt me? How could it help me? No. What will happen if I were to destroy the holocron?
So this force version of yourself, you and Matron Chevales, of the two of you, surround on either side of the holocron. Oron is asking questions that you, Matron Chevales, also want to know. The two of you, it is uncovering. And then, Oron, when you concentrate on what would happen if you were to destroy the cage, you see rising up from the cage and coalescing into a form that you recognize is the form of Matos. If you destroy the cage, you will destroy him. This future version of your son. And Matron Chevales, because you helped, you also get a peek into this. You understand who this is, Matos.
And if I can point of clarification, but if I can't ask this, is fine. When I see Matos, is it the version I saw in the cave, that dark side future?
Yes.
So
it is the NPC listed on row 16 of our NPCs tab.
Okay.
It is the dark version.
So I'm interpreting this as that will destroy this dark side version of him from existing. In my mind, that's Cody's justifying it that way. Okay, cool. Those are the three questions. I think.
Does that feel a hard way enough for you?
Yes, and no. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Everything's fine. I think actually the hard way might be Matron having that information about Matos as well. Returning to our forms on the ship, Oron, opens his eyes and he says to the Matron, "You saw it too. You saw what I saw, yes? You understand what I mean now when I speak of this poison."
The poison of your own loins.
That is not my son. That is something from another time and another place, but that has not yet come to pass.
Cannot continue to influence Darren. I'm in agreement.
Good. Now we just have to figure out the next step. What was that, Tyler?
I said I can think of one.
Oh no. Yeah, let's cut from there.
Yeah, let's cut. Let's cut. Greg, you had said Zop wanted to, after this heated conversation over dinner, you wanted to reach out to Whisper?
Yeah, I'm invoking what we talked about. I want to trade in that favor. Zop doesn't
Sweet.
have time to rest and talk, pontificate over
He's
the
a
moral
war machine.
dilemmas.
He's got stuff to do.
Zinj must fall. Um, yeah, so pipes in the contact information for Whisper.
Nice.
We've held up our side of the bargain.
Nice.
And I imagine she's like located now in one of the palaces of Dathomir, right? Like she's not
Yes.
stuck behind a bar anymore.
Oh no, she's already
Yeah.
started moving up in the world. I think that you find the person who feels the call to hand it off to her is
Right,
Swana,
right.
who also has moved up alongside her, still the person in charge of security. And she has a lovely view of what you see on Tyler's background there, the Dathomirian flats. She smiles, but it's a predatory smile. I see you come back to me already.
Yes.
How may I repay my debt to you?
Hold on. I need a name. 1 second. Dang it. Where's the Empire tab? Oh, there it is.
okay.
All the way on the right. Nope, nope, no. Where's our evil people?
The Empire. So if you go to the 3 lines, all sheets, you can actually spin up and down and look at every tab. It goes Fellowship, Rebellion, the Empire.
Oh shoot, it was right there the whole time. All right. Way to break the flow. We need the Queen. Sintel.
Ah, I'm sorry, there's so many queens.
Yes. Unfortunately. Queen
Hmm.
Sintel. She's going to have a engine problem.
Oh, interesting. And here I thought you were coming to me over the bounty placed on your head, but I guess you needn't worry about that.
Whisper, my time is short. She's going to have an engine problem, and it's going to happen at Voss.
Very well. I will give you her location, and then my debt to you is paid. And whatever you do with that information, you did not receive it from me. And as for your opposition
think
to
someone
queens,
will
you must
live?
think again, because in Dathomir there are some who have referred to me as a queen for some unknown reason. I, of course, have not taken such a title.
Do not fear. No one will survive the ambush.
Very well. My debt is
Chevelsa is
paid.
coming for you.
Oh, I appreciate that information.
It's nothing you didn't already know.
Is there anything more, or are we done?
We are done.
So be it. And then you have done it. Yay! No. All right, sweet. That was short and sweet. I love that you just blew past the hey, there's a bounty on your head. That's great. I
Oh,
love that.
whatever. There's always a
Whatever.
bounty on my head.
Yeah, exactly. It's just whatever. You knew about that, right? Surely you did.
Already dealt with that before.
Cool. So, do we want to talk through dealing with Noles Sintel, the queen of the Zygarian Empire, or at least Zygaria, the planet?
Well, I picked Voss because it's also kind of far from Dathomir. We got to do that journey move.
Yeah, maybe we do a journey. That sounds fun. Ask him a lot of her. Lure her all the way out to. Where is Voss?
It's not far from Zygaria, but we're not anywhere near Voss.
It's true.
It's
There
not
it
even on a
is.
spacing lane.
Yeah. Voss from our intel is not weird. It's not there at all. Like I haven't added a entry for Voss. Why would I not do that? So weird. All right.
Wow. Wikipedia doesn't even have an entry on Voss.
Was
No,
Voss
that can't be correct.
one of ours? Is that one we know?
Voss might refer to Quinlan Voss, of course, or Dryden Voss, but
Mm,
no planet
I
Voss.
see Voss is a different font, so I think that's one
VO
planet we created.
VOSS. Voss is real.
VOSS?
Oh.
Oh, okay.
If it's located in the Tion cluster in the Outer Rim territories, then
Yes, it is.
it might
The
just
Voss
be.
system, I've never heard of him.
Voss isn't a system; it's a man.
Well, sweet. We'll have to add another S then. Star Wars, Voss. There it is. One of the main planets in the Voss system, the Allied town sector of the Outer Rim. The species, the native species, the original native species is the Gormak. Interesting. Cool. Great. So you guys need to make a journey, and I think that's what we will do next. That intrigues me. So let's talk about that move. It is in the game
It's on
reference or
game
the
reference,
move?
yeah.
Okay.
And I'm curious, is Chevelsa even in this incorporeal state?
I'm
Is
not
she-
incorporeal. I'm there fully.
Oh, you're there fully. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Are
I've
you're
traveled the
along
way
with us on this journey? Yeah. Okay.
I am.
Awesome. Love it. Okay, a long journey. A journey is a story of point A to point B. During a journey, each player will tell us an event that happened along the way, starting with whomever you like. The Overlord may frame the event by asking a player a question first, such as, what did you find off the beaten path, or what was really dangerous about this leg of the journey? After someone describes the event, they choose another player at the table, and they will tell us how they handled the event. Give each event as much or as little detail as it needs. The Overlord also sets a scene during this journey, telling the Fellowship how their minions made the journey harder. After every event has been resolved, you make it to your destination.
It is the cool signature move of Fellowship, and I use it in so many other games.
Very cool.
I have
I'm
an event I
excited.
would love to have happen.
Well, then I guess you're leading us off.
Okay. So I think we see Oron. It's late at night on the ship. And he's patrolling, sort of doing rounds, doing his meditative thinking big, weird philosophical thoughts. And he turns the corner, and on the ground is a vibra rapier. It's Zop's vibra rapier. And as he leans down or looks around to figure out what's going on, he hears the heavy sound of Zop's boots behind him. Pick it up.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Pick up the vibro rapier, kind of hold it aloft. Looks like you dropped this, friend.
And Zop has another vibra rapier on him, right?
Yeah.
And just brings it up to point.
Oron rolls it in his hand till he has the hilt in his hand. This will help me clear my mind. You always know just when I need it. Let's keep it light, though, shall we?
Zop does not hold back.
Yeah, I think Oron is very much on the defensive, and it's the kind of thing where, if you've ever had a friend who's really mad and
Yes.
you want to diffuse that situation, you're like, I know you're going through some stuff, so he's just kind of blocking, like, okay, yes, oh, you got me, it's he's doing his best to try and diffuse some of the emotions he's feeling from Zop.
Yes. Yeah. And Zop is working through some stuff on his own. There's moments where you're not entirely sure that Zop is actually
Going to stop.
Going defense. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we're not exactly just parrying and yeah. What's the term? I can't remember. Sparring. Maybe we're not exactly just sparring. You tell me how it ends, though.
I think it ends with Zop. Zop kind of is burning through his energy, and he beats Oren back. Oren falls back into a bulkhead and kind of trips, and Zop has the point of the rapier to Oron for a killing blow if he wanted it. And Oron isn't worried in this moment. He knows it'll be okay. He kind of looks up exhausted at Zop. He just tells him, "You win again, friend. You're very talented. You're a great asset to the rebellion and to us. You're a good friend."
You fight better with this than with your lightsaber.
That's worrisome to hear, but perhaps it is just more familiar with training with this blade. It's not often I get to spar with such intensity with a saber.
Will you be making another one?
I don't know.
And that's where Zop leaves it.
Very interesting. Who wishes to tell us about the next step in your journey?
I have something in mind, but it's unfortunately, I don't know if it'll work or this would be one you would have to set up, Rich.
Mm-hmm.
I would be very curious what we can't know what Darren's doing, but perhaps Oron and the matron feel what the holocron is doing during the journey. Almost like maybe it's a scene, as if you're outside of a room and you can only hear one side of the conversation.
Okay. We'll have to make note of this so that if we do a catch-up scene with Kay next week, that we work this in. But I think perhaps, Oron, you have a fitful dream as you now hear the voice of the holocron And it sounds like the Matos you saw before, as he torments Darren, saying, he is as weak as a lightsaber. You see how he has left it behind, shedding away everything until all that is left is an old man. We're not sure if you've like, how does Darren respond?
Yeah.
We don't know. But is there any, is that your whole step of the journey, you think? Or do you have something else, a follow on from that you're interested in?
I think that can be fine as a kind of a placeholder for Kay getting a whole scene when we come back next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
But per the edict of the move itself, you're supposed to introduce a thing that another player resolves.
Right. So
let's see
that's
how
what I'm
that
saying.
goes.
I'm introducing this scene
For
as
Kay to resolve next.
exactly. Yeah. It's
Okay.
it's a cutaway for a setup for a flashback.
A
It'll
pocket future scene. Sure.
I love a pocket future scene. Yeah.
Yeah. We have now made such a thing. Sounds good. Cool. Who do you choose to go next, or who wants to step up? We got Steven Tyler, and then moi, little old moi.
I got one. I think as we're we're jumping point to point, we're doing Star Trek flight. Star Wars flight, sorry. As we have a point where we come back into real space to make, to move around to get to the next jump. I think we're intercepted. And I think that we have a Star Cruiser and TIE fighters that begin moving in to intercept us. And I'm going to hand off to you, Greg. How do we resolve this space problem?
Yeah, so that we jump in, we're about to make the recalibrations because we're trying not to be tracked. I think that's why this is taking so long, right? Plus we have to wait for Whisper's people to sort of get in line. And it's the Imperial Interdictor cruisers, the one with the big gravity wells.
Ooh.
Flies in at the exact same time. And as it starts to deploy its TIE fighters, we realize very quickly that we are outnumbered. It is a running gun battle. It's tense. Darren is nowhere to be seen as the captain of the ship. Who steps up as captain? Because it's not Zop. Is it Chevelsa herself?
Oh, that'd be funny. And
Pilot is the
certainly-
church. Sorry.
Okay.
I was gonna say,
Okay,
I just was looking at the thing. I was gonna say, Cherdal is the pilot, Versi is the officer. We got Ping the engineer, and maybe Chevelsa's taking over a role somewhere on this journey.
I've certainly served in that capacity before, so I think there's probably just what is going on here, and just like innately begin giving out orders.
I love it. And you probably have some insight for us on how to avoid it. But just as we're about to get cornered, a whole wing of Republic starfighters jumps in to save us, giving us just enough time to escape and move on.
Man, like digging this deep into the
And for people at Star Wars Saturdays, it's like the people from one of the Starfighter games. It's one of those wings. It's like totally okay. Anyway. My Mirielon or one of the other ones. Yeah.
Yes. be that for sure. Awesome. So it's me or Steven, and I get to think about how the companions make things worse for you.
Do you have something, Rich?
I don't yet, but I will have one if you go before me.
Um, so I was just looking it up. I think I'm going to steal something from another Powered by the Apocalypse role game, which is Cramped Quarters. I think on this long trip, we're struggling quite a bit. And Nanta goes around and talks to everyone to kind of keep their spirits up. I think to Zop, he comes back with some equipment from that junk room that we saw and needs a little bit of help fashioning something to go along with his mount, maybe a spear or something like that, so he has decent, reach if someone attacks him, so he can go hunting better. What do you think about helping me with, how does it feel to spend some time fashioning a weapon with Nanta?
I think it's for the first time in the journey that you actually see, um, you know, old Zop for a moment. When you've asked him for help in fashioning a weapon, he gets calmer. And he gets a little it actually is a bit like older times, right? Maybe where you would have worked together on other projects, and Zop actually like lets out a laugh, which is a strange sound. Haven't heard that in a couple days.
Does the Tenwa clan have a marking or
Yeah,
something associated with that?
it's a bloom. It's one of the flowers of Rhodia. It's like this flower bloom.
Do I ask you about your tattoo that you have, the
Yeah.
bloom? And when do I get mine?
Another member must accept you, but they have been corrupted by Zinj. In time. Nanta.
And I think that's where we close that down. And I think I go to Auron and I talk to Auron briefly and say, I think the word of your family has gotten out. It seems like everyone now knows. Have you discussed this with your mate?
Nanta, that's very kind of you. I forgot that I put this burden on you for so long. Yes, Versi and I are known now. She should know. After when we were leaving Dathomir, you might have missed it. Still, I should probably talk to her about that. It is a change of the situation, I suppose, a change of the normal that we had for so long. It will make some things difficult, I imagine.
Seems like it would especially be difficult with Darren. That's something you might want to talk to Versi about or handle with Darren before it becomes bad for her.
You're right. Thank you, Nanta. You said I was the conscience. I don't think that's true. I think that's you, little guy.
I just feel bellies. It's fine. Was there anything else you wanted from that scene? And then I think we see Nanta with Matron Cheveosa. And Nanta, where do you think you'd be on the ship? Have you found quarters?
I think probably I've been given some small berth, and
Okay.
that's enough for me.
I think I go to your area, the berth that you have, and I tell you, you are an unknown. I'm keeping my eyes on you. I don't know if you're one of us, or if you're one of them, or if you're just you. Maybe the last one's the most dangerous, because it could destroy us all. Do you want to become the News Eng? Is that your purpose?
Desire to see my home free. I have no wants for a new empire. But would you accept me as one of yours? Would you put aside what happened in the past?
Have you seen? You've talked to Zop. Zop has a colorful past, and you've talked to Oron. Oron has traveled all over and comes from a people who are no more, but are very rigid in their beliefs. And you've talked to Darren. Darren, he was very spoiled and pampered whenever he started and joined us. What makes you any different? If you follow our way and are willing to sacrifice as we have, then doesn't that make you a part of the group?
It's a part of what happened to your home. They were not.
You said you were a part of what happened to
Your
my home.
home.
Yeah. So you did to others what had happened to you. Have you moved past that? I don't know that I can ever forgive you for hurting me in the same way that others hurt you. But I can understand it. It's no different from what I'm doing today.
No breaker for your people. But I am sorry for what happened to them.
We both know forgiveness is earned, not given, as others like to say. So I think I'm watching you, and we will see through your actions what you really mean. Is there anything else you wanted from that scene?
Now I think that's good.
And then the last one is we see Nanta go up to Darren's door and knock on it, and there's no answer, and knock on it, and then turn around and go back to the galley.
Cool. I have checked the safety tools, but reminder that we do have safety tools, but I checked the lines and fails and needed to tweak this, so it's tweaked. But this is how one of your companions makes the journey more difficult. Tezzy is your companion, Nanta. And so she excitedly comes to you when she tell you that she has arranged for 2 whole squads of stormtroopers who want to turn and join the rebellion. She personally vouches for the sergeant of the first squad who has brought the others along, and they have left. They have left the Empire. They've all gone AWOL and await to join you at Moribund, the planet closest to Voss. So when these stormtrooper exiles are taken in their shuttle, I'm curious, and when one of them reveals to have had a bomb planted in them, who is there in the hold? I think Matron Chevalza, for some reason, you are there. But who else would have gone to greet these new members, these new rebels?
There's no way
I think-
Zop's not there.
Yeah, I think Oran's there too. Nanta's speech about, leading by example and showing better paths is really ring true with him. And so he's doing his best to really embody that. And so, there's new members to the rebellion. He's got to be there to help.
This is the cargo hold of our ship where
Yes.
we are picking up the troopers.
Yes. They arrive in a battered, like, ancient Lambda class shuttle. One of the wings is shorn off. They come into the hangar bay, and you all are there. But again, Stephen, I interrupted. Do you think Nanta's there or just watching?
Nanta's definitely keeping an eye on things, but standing in the background. Basically letting everyone else. He's watching the matron. He's watching Zop to see how they all interact, ready to step in if, Zop starts shooting or Tezzy hates or Tezzy is frightened of the matron, and I want to make sure that interaction goes okay. So I'm just kind of watching. Yeah, but I'm
But
there.
she's still one of my companions as well.
Uh-huh. So she's frightened of the matron, but she does what the matron says.
Well, and I'm very suspicious of this. I'll just lay my baseline is I'm very suspicious.
Cool. I'm just saying matron's there because this explosion could be our perfect excuse of why matron is not here for next session. That's all that is just making space for that excuse.
So, having filled my belly, this is a bit of a quantum ogre thing. I get to clear one of my things. I was going to clear Seance, but I could clear Smell Danger and react before the bomb goes off.
That would be interesting.
Okay. I will mark Smell Danger.
Yeah, it'd make a lot of sense that Zop would have like would be doubtful and be looking for weapons, right?
Yeah. So I think there's like a review, right? It's the opposite of the Emperor thing where he lands in his shuttle and like we're all arranged all neatly on the sides. We're not doing that. But everyone's there in the cargo hold as it comes in and lands, and Zop starts, doing the door security as you would do at a bar or something, and it's checking over these stormtroopers, and there's this one, and his eyes are a little wild. And before he can activate it, I'll mark Smell Danger, and I'm just gonna finish them.
Interesting. That sounds wild. Let's see how that goes. As you draw on these, and the troopers, they arrived without weapons, right? They're trying to show, hey, we're no threat. We're trying to join you. We've left. You see, there are some that have signs of torture. They've had it rough. Some of them have hard eyes. Some seem hollow, but this one His eyes seem wild, almost drugged, perhaps.
I could talk sense. Hold on. Let me.
But let's be clear. There is an ask first on suicide. This is not
Yeah.
suicide. This is not a suicide bomber. This is a person who doesn't realize he's going to blow up. Just so we're clear.
Oh, okay. Doesn't realize that he's been employed.
So that's probably what you determine with your, smell danger. Yeah,
Yeah.
is that
Okay.
someone is inadvertently, this is hidden from everyone.
Well, then I'm going to overcome. That would be
That
okay.
sounds.
I thought this was like
good.
an implanted thing. Okay, this is like there's something attached to them.
Because we have an ask. That's where I altered it. I was thinking of
perfect.
that.
I
That was
like
my
it.
first thought, but then I realized, oh, okay, then this person has effectively a cortex bomb. He's not aware he's carrying. Maybe it's a more recent surgical addition that you could pick up, but we'll see how you deal with this.
So in that case, I'm going to try to like grab it out of them. It is surgically implanted. Is that how we're doing this?
Yes.
Oh, that's pretty metal. It's okay with that. Zop like grabs it and rips it out and is gonna try to throw it. He's moving as fast as he possibly can to throw it out the force field door, right? That the Lambda shuttle pulls in through to get it away from everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is courage.
Sounds good. Let's see how this
We
goes.
have a bond.
We
How-
do, Chevelso.
How about as you pull it out, I recognize what it is and move to your side as you throw it, and
Oh, and force push it.
yeah.
I love it. Does that
So
give
I'll
me hope?
give you hope.
I think it does. Yeah, that sounds exactly like it would give you hope to keep the bond from killing these troopers and also disabling your hangar and hurting a lot of people. I would
Yeah.
damage everyone's stat who's here. A stat.
Zop betrayed me. That was so. This is a moment of truth for us. That like I think you're about to force push me out of the airlock. All right, here we go. +2. Set us up the bomb. Here we go. Rolling. Oh, not good. So that's a 5.
That is a 7.
That is a 7.
Okay.
Woo!
On a 7 to 9, choose one. Pay a price to take the 10 plus result, which is you stop the obstacle threat,
Yep.
cut or move from causing harm. Or you can create a temporary solution. So you pay a price to take the result, or you create a temporary solution. Temporary solution delays the threat when time of fire. I'm not sure how that makes sense.
I
So
will
I think
pay the
you will
price.
basically, like, it will be a mixed result, meaning you save most of the people, but damage certainly
Yeah.
not.
I will pay the price. I think it's Zop's cybernetic arm that he grabs us with. It's strong. It's able to just get something out of somebody very quickly. And as he throws it, Matron Chevelsa takes his arm with it, flies out past the grid and explodes. And Zop is now disarmed of his do arm of Durasteel.
Okay.
And as a result of causing a fellow or a person in the fellowship, you lose your bond with me as well. Anytime that stuff happens that causes damage between us, a bond is lost.
A bond is lost. I am losing all of the bonds.
That's what a war machine does.
It's Nanta. Nanta is the only one I trust anymore. Although I don't know, we could argue that Oron and I forged a bond in the middle scene. I don't think we're quite there
Please.
yet.
That feels good to me. If you guys agree, it definitely met the expectations of it.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
I like forging bonds and then breaking them. It's great.
It shows evolution of character.
All right, I'm writing. Oran has shown me he will rise to the occasion when needed. I trust him again.
I'm writing Zop needs a friend.
Oh.
Zop does need a friend. Oh, and now we don't. Oh, okay. I've got an idea. Steven, is R0's arm still around?
So yes, we absolutely have like all of this old junk that's in the back.
Yeah.
And we've got a battle droid arm. We have R0's arm. I mean, R0 is pretty much repairable. We just
Yeah.
need to,
Okay. Well, we can explore that maybe next time.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I think
but
during this
man,
whole process, Nanta sees you reach out and it, like screams, and it, you're going to hurt one of these people that we've just taken in who've already been hurt enough, and sees you actually rip something out of them, and then you and the matron push it out, throw it out, and it explodes, and Nanta, reevaluates life a little bit and says, I should trust these people more.
and I think Zop screams out, Sidge will stop at nothing.
Perfect. I think that is where we end. We pick up with the ship.
I have a way of getting
Ooh.
myself out, if you'd
Let's
like.
do it. Let's do it. What do you like?
Okay. Then, as we're preparing for our last jump where Whisper is set up, I will kind of get everyone together to say, it is probably best if I provide you access. I will arrange the codes so that you can get as close as possible. What it does is, since I'm working with the Fellowship at the moment, it gives a weakness to the Empire for their action. Something they can call on at some point. That's part of that activity, a weakness for Empire. Something they can just call on in a moment to overcome an obstacle.
Somebody note that. That is really cool.
You should be able to get as close as possible. I will try to come in and assist if I am able. And your session goes very long. And it happens again in the next session. But if not, know that I am hoping for your victory. And we have, I think my ship has come in to kind of meet up here. Perhaps as a sign of good faith and a means to help Darren. I'm not sure. I don't think last session y'all had this happen. Correct me if I'm wrong. But a shuttle comes from my ship, pick me up, and as I get on, Darren's sister gets off.
Nice. Yeah, I really like that. So we can have
Ooh.
we have the reaction, and that's the thing. Like then she disembarks and runs forward towards Darren, the NPC, and they hug.
And I leave. But I will, before I leave, move over to Nanta and offer my hand as I'm leaving. Do you take it?
And Nanta looks up at you and then leans forward and actually, like, I'm much shorter than you, like hugs your leg, right? And says, May, there's a lot depending on you. We wish you luck. May you find your way.
I think there's a momentary stiffening, and then I sort of lean down and hug the top of your shoulders. I know you're watching.
Always.
And I turn and go to my shuttle and leave.
Well, yeah, I think we have a bit of a music swell from a John Williams like soundscape there, and that is where we will bring the session to a close. I will write up that you guys avoided a dark fate, and I think you get it's not a small army, maybe like some seasoned trooper warriors, damaged stormtroopers, turncoats, the stormtrooper exiles. So I'll write that up. That is something that you guys got as a benefit for avoiding my terrible fate. So, questions: did you strike a blow against the Empire or its leaders?
We've set up the strike. I don't think we did the strike. Yeah.
Did you
We did get troopers, right?
You did.
But I
Okay,
think
I
it's
don't
a
think that's
reward
big
on
enough.
its own. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's the reward.
Sounds good.
Did you protect the common folk from harm? No, I'll allow for a yes there.
Yes. I threw my arm out into space and it exploded.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Did you
true.
learn something new about the Empire and its plans? I think you had to, right? To set up this thing with Nolas, and you're acting directly against the lieutenant. So we'll say 2 yeses. And for each yes answer, you can choose one of the following options: refreshing a piece of gear, choosing a stat to heal. I don't think anyone has any stats to heal, and the Fellowship and the Empire each choose a player to level up.
Can I use that to refresh my piece of gear? I'm not gonna basically just to get my arm back. I'm not gonna get my Durasteel arm back, but just so I have my other arm.
Sure. I'm okay with that. That means that you're choosing, everyone gets to refresh a piece of gear. Does anyone else have gear they need to refresh?
Anybody? Yeah.
I
Or
spent-
don't you have spells?
Do they count as gear?
Yes.
No, I think they only get refreshed from
Is
fill
that
your
only a
belly.
recovery? It's not a.
Yeah, my Elder Arts, when you fill your belly mark spell, when you recover, remove all marks, but it doesn't seem like it counts as gear. So
How long was this trip? Does this count as a recover?
It doesn't, because that's an action that you do nothing else, and the Empire gets to do something.
yes.
Okay.
Unless we wish to, if you wanted to say we took a recovery, but then Rich would get to advance his plans, have something set up nasty for us.
Come on. It's
I would like that. I wanted
Yeah.
to do recover, but I mean we can do that at the start of the next one too. We can
No,
we can say after this mission there's a
This will
recover.
give Rich a chance to go ahead and plan for what the awful is. If we go
Yes.
ahead and say we
that sounds
did
good.
recover.
That sounds good. Cool. So the plan is you're going to recover, and I'll get to tick off a move. Great. Sounds good. So what's your
I
second
also
advantage?
recovered some of the food I used during Fill Your Belly.
I too used food, so I can recover that.
And then we have one more,
Yes,
right?
you do.
And
What's
that's advancement.
everybody's levels at? I'm at
What is
5.
Darren at?
We're all at 5
Everyone's
right
at
now.
5.
Yeah.
Well, you know who's getting leveled up then?
Yep.
Oh,
So we
yeah.
need to pick someone.
Did you,
I think
as a group, and maybe think about this? I'll hold off on what I pick. Talk with Darren. Talk with Kay next time. Are y'all accepting me as part of the Fellowship? And have that as a discussion.
do we all have to agree, or does only one of us have to agree?
Well, it's a meta. It's
Yeah.
both a meta and a character thing. So, because then I can pick the redeemed.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, actually, I think at this point Zap is accepting Shavelsa as part of the Fellowship.
Because it's the sort of thing, if I've only got 2 left, wouldn't be so bad if I go ahead and moved into the redeemed.
Neat.
Yeah, we'll talk about it next time. But I think,
but y'all,
I think we're
y'all
leaning
have
way.
that talk.
Yeah.
With me not present, that's a good thing.
And off camera, so you'll never know what is discussed.
Don't do it off camera.
I think Oron leveled up this session. That's
I
my
see. I
opinion.
think Nanta, you, or perhaps while we were all doing our thing, perhaps
Darren.
Darren with the holocron leveled up. That would be
So
weird,
Oren,
though. But maybe.
have you thought about what you would take next?
No, the last level up, I did the increasing my stats because I haven't really had any idea of what I would do next.
I
was
like
hoping there was one that would fit well with, story wise. Like if you were, I want to stick to the Jedi code and maybe something, a move works well for that. Or if it's, I want to explore and broaden my horizons, maybe there's a good move for that. So
yeah, that the next time I level up will probably be one of those destiny paths, but I don't need to do it right now. I would want to look at it some more.
My vote would go to, well, I guess if I'm in the fellowship, I get at least an advisory. I think
Yeah.
Nanta or Darren makes sense to me too.
let's do
Yeah.
it for Darren then. That just means that Kay will have to figure out, what they're doing, last minute before the session starts. I guess we
Yeah.
can let them know over in the
Yeah.
Slack.
Yep. Okay, so I moved it up from 5 to 6 for Darren on level.
Came in here
And
to object. That's how you get leveled up. I love it.
let's see. I mean, if you're part of the, why do I want to level up my turncoat redeemed? I don't want to level any of y'all up, but I have to do somebody. So
We don't right now. There's still, it's like the quantum,
Yeah, I'm still the bad
yeah.
guy right now.
oh well, then let me level you
up.
up while you're a bad guy. All right, take that level. Boom. While you're still bad, until you tell me that you're not bad, I'll level you up. Cool. Let's quickly transition to stars and wishes. We start with wishes so we can end with stars. So what? Oh, Cody, make sure you are
I'm on it.
muting, my friend. Thank you, sir. Who's
I'll
got?
hear you. I'll be right back.
Okay, who's got wishes to throw?
I'll start with my wishes. This session was fantastic, and it sounds more like a star, but this session was great. I wish we could have more sessions like this. I wish this game could continue. That's a wish, but I recognize that's not something you really want to happen. When you get too much of a good thing, then it kind of drags on. And I'm glad that we're talking about this is when we need to finish. This is how the story needs to end, because that makes the best sense. So it makes the best for the story and for us. So yeah, I think my wish is more sessions like this, but it's important that we keep the goal in mind.
Any other wishes?
Not that I can think of right now. Yeah.
All right, who's
Uh,
next?
I would love to have some opportunity for Zop to indoctrinate Nanta into the Tenwa clan before his eventual death. The putting that out there, I'm very excited to see the redeemed version of Matron Chevalsa, if that's the route we take. Yeah, and then I would love to see a moment between Zop, Darren, and Oron about I would love I'm waiting for, and I know it's going to be like the last session we do. I'm super excited about the final confrontation over the holocron and its destiny. So excited for all that, and it's not too far away now. So I'm assuming, yeah.
So cool. Any other wishes?
I'll throw out a wish here. I wish for more of those journey moves, like any more of those moves that we haven't hit that are like little fiddly bits that have something, like the Empire, what is the move, what was it called, like Crush's Rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd like to see more of that Like any last little bits of this game that we haven't started hitting on, I want to see all of it come into play.
Yep, I agree. Cool.
My two wishes. One wish, I wish that I could have been here for every session. I really think uh, it is unfortunate because a lot of flow, and it is, it's my fault, my schedule, but it is unfortunate because I think the story could have been really, really nifty if I could have been here to participate. So I regret that I wasn't able to be here with you all the time. Couldn't be helped, but I regret that because this has been really excellent. And when we are all together, I think it flows marvelously well. Y'all do amazing things when I'm not here, but there's something to these moments, and they seem so disjointed. And I regret that I have stupid work. My other wish is that with Kay coming back, I look forward to seeing kind of the fallout of this knowledge of the holocron, this really momentous sort of discussion that was had about but not with Darren. So I'm really looking forward to that and how that's presented to Darren. I think that's going to be very interesting.
Good. Tyler, you went last with wishes. You get to go first with stars if you want.
Oh fuck, this is just amazing. I mean, so much good stuff. Get parlor talk is, I mean, we all got together, had a good long conversation. That's role playing. That's the fun of any game. Zop and this new Destiny playbook and how you're playing that character, Greg. So intense, so good to see that difference. Oh my god. Oren, the debate and the argument back and forth just was hitting. It was good. Oh, so good. I love Oren's certainty and at the same time worry over what everything is moving towards. That is just really well done. And Stephen, oh my goodness, not to just he just kills me every time you bring out so much from every other player. You are such a generous role player. It is so good to have any opportunity to play with you. And what you brought out of this character of mine is so much more than I saw. And I just have to thank you. It is amazing. And Rich, giving us the freedom and the time to play today. When we know there is some time restrictions, and yet you just opened it up and let it flow. And it was, I mean, it's brave GMing, and everything was controlled with, the images and the stuff you did bring in, and as we got that holocron, it's like, oh shit, so good, so well done.
Thank you. Cool. Thank you, Tyler. Cool. So, Cody, any stars still left out there?
Yeah, a few, but I'll echo Stephen. Exactly what Tyler said. You are such a generous role player. Your descriptions of the food cooking and table setting is it's just perfect little stuff. Also, talking to Aron about what the Ewoks do to guide their people. That goes into that. What you bring out in the other players and the other characters is it's so great. So huge start of that. Tyler, great Force philosophy talk. The poison of your loins, man, what a shot! Absolutely the wildest stuff. I love it. Greg, I feel nothing. So good that you came in with that during that meeting, that you were just like, I'm out of this. So all this stuff you did, and also all the stuff you've created and done for Rhodians, man, like you are the Rhodian ambassador, and it's great. It's like, oh yeah, it's a Rhodian flower. It's this thing. It's just like, this guy, He knows everything there is to know about Rhodians. This guy loves Greedo. Love it. And Rich, yeah, big star for letting us go so hard with that dinner scene. I mean, that was like a third of the game easily, was us having this kind of discussion. And I think it was a great time to have it, because there was this thing of like, we should, even though Kay's not here, the discussion should be about Darren. Because Darren is like, oh, I'm pissed at all of you. I'm going into my room. It's like, well, yeah, we're going to talk about what's going on. We're not going to ignore this elephant in the ship. So I love that. So it was, big star to letting us have that in that moment.
It definitely paid off. I got to be audience to some really awesome scenes, and then all of a sudden a move happened. Wait, they're mechanics?
Oh.
Cool. Steven, any last stars before Greg as well, but Steven?
Yeah, so again, everything was great. It's this session was very good in that, we got that time. I really appreciate people saying, hey, let's go cook in the galley because that'll bring Nanta to us, and getting us all together. And then, just to be honest, I was literally typing in the chat, how can we get Tyler's character in on this discussion? Whenever Tyler, you said, this is how I'm going to come in, I'm like, okay, good. Everybody took care of things for me. It was great. I really enjoyed that. And just like everyone else, that scene in the galley was fantastic. And everybody, I really enjoyed the debate about what the Jedi way is. And then Zop saying, I'm out of here, and just getting up and leaving kind of in a huff. And then us having part of the conversation that he would have agreed with after he had left. That was all just very beautiful, and it fit really well. So it was nice to open things up.
Cool. And then Greg, bring us home.
Yeah, I love that scene. That was a lot of fun. I love that that we left, and then the conversation turned to the parts that Zop would agree with. It was so good. And then Rich, big star for our dilemma. It was a good little twist there at the end. And Zop is once again without an arm. It sort of seems to happen all the time. Tyler, I love the turn that Chevelsa is making. I love that playbook. I love the way you're playing it. I'm so happy that so we have no session next, but we have you for the next 3 sessions, right? Oh, it's gonna be so good. Where it's gonna get so unhinged. Oh no, we was
You
missing
got me. If there's not one next time, I'll be in the next one. I'll miss one, be in the
and
next
miss one. Okay, still,
Yep.
I'm looking forward to it. And
I think
I
we
love
have the entire fellowship
the entire
next time we
fellowship.
play.
That's so
Entire
good.
fellowship.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward. I love that we had the talk about Darren without Darren, because that's exactly what Darren is worried that we're doing. So
I think Kay's worried about it. I saw in the Slack, like, Richard, what's going on?
yeah, and all of the journey moves, every one of those scenes was amazing. Just stars all around, all good. I loved every single bit of that. You're right, Tyler. It's a great move. It needs to be in more things.
Thank you for reminding me of that. That was.
I'd like to add on to your stars, Greg. I just realized, I've been enjoying the tension from the Nemesis, right? The Nemesis playbook. It's very good. And part of the thing it seems like we're working towards as a fellowship is to bring the Nemesis in. But knowing that there are destiny moves out there, there's also the tension that if we bring Chevelsa into the fellowship, all it takes is a level up, and she could take the Destiny Trader, right? And then
No, I can't
permanently
ever take a Destiny book.
Oh, you can't? Okay. So
No,
this is
but
a
I think-
one-way trip. If you join the fellowship, then you are part of the fellowship, and you cannot turn on us. Oh, see,
That
I
is
like the
correct.
idea of that tension being there. I like that tension of, what happens if there's a traitor at the very last minute. So
Could be
maybe that's a
Oron.
wish then.
Right.
Yeah.
Someone else could take the trader like Darren.
Oh,
Certainly could. Certainly could.
Interesting.
Good stuff. Great session. Thank you guys for giving me that seat of being able to play audience. It was super fun, and this was really, really good. I look forward to 2 weeks from now, because next week is May the 4th be with you, Minicon. Yay! I hope you guys all get into games and get to participate in some of that fun stuff. With that, we'll bring the recording to a close. Thank you all.